several hundred meters thick of nothing but these glass shells down there. Y'all have all heard of diatomaceous earth? Well, that's what diatomaceous earth is their shells. Okay? They use it for filtration, they use it for polishing, lots of different things, but it's all this silica glass shells of these animals that they use to do all that stuff with. Okay. Now the algae that everybody's kind of familiar with, green algae, right? The chlorophyta. You got cellulose here in a cell wall, right? You're starting to move towards a plant type setup. Brown algae. Brown algae are your seaweeds, okay? Marine organisms. They're still single-celled organisms, but they live as a colony, and you're starting to get some differentiation. Okay? Up until now, we haven't seen any cellular differentiation. We've seen one cell doing one thing, not doing anything any different. On the brown algae, you'll notice that there's a part that forms a little gas bubble. Yeah, very strange. Gas bubble that helps the plant float and keep it upright and keep it close to the sun so it can do its thing. It's also got cells that act as anchors and hold it onto the bottom so that it can sit in the ocean and stay upright and do its thing, okay? So that's a little bit of cellular differentiation, which is something you don't see much of at this level. All right, now there's one that isn't in your book. And it's Rhodophyta, red algae. It's another marine organism, seaweed type thing. And it also has a variance of colors out in nature, but since the only example I've got here is what's on this card right over here, it's red. And red will stick out. It'll be red algae. Okay? All right. Now after that, we move into fungi. Everybody knows what fungi are. Mushrooms, that sort of thing. Lots of mushrooms are what we're used to seeing. They're typical capped type mushrooms, normal like you'd always look at. Some are more like the shelf types where they're growing off the sides of something. Some of them are good to eat. Everybody's heard of truffles? Truffles are
the stuff that grows under the trees that picks root up.
Yeah, they're actually underground even. You have to be, something has to sniff them out like they used to use pigs. They got where the pigs were eating too many of the truffles, so they started training dogs. Dogs did a good job, but I understand now that they're training mice to sniff them out for them. So that should be interesting. But anyway, truffles are expensive because of all the trouble you have to go to, and they're not all that common. Another very expensive eating mushroom is the morchello. And this is a very odd looking mushroom. Every time I've ever put this on an exam, nobody's known what the heck it is. Okay? I even asked if it was just, what group is it? You know, is it a fungi? And nobody knew, okay? So pay a little attention to this, because I promise you it'll be on the test, and everybody bombed it and passed, so make sure you take a good look at it. What's that?
It's the fungi, right?
Yep.
What's it called?
More Jello. There's a card with it over here with all the information on it. Okay. As long as we're talking about eating mushrooms, I ate a lot of mushrooms when I was young, for all the wrong reasons. But many, if not most, mushrooms are actually poisonous. So I wouldn't spend a lot of time eating mushrooms. Okay? All right. Now, another single-celled organism is yeast. And yeast is here. We have some mixed with sugar and who knows what else. But they're fermenting it to make alcohol, right? What kind of alcohol are you going to get from fermentation?
Bud Light.
Whiskey, beer, anything that requires yeast.
Yeah, ethyl alcohol. You're going to get ethanol. Same thing they put in your gas that ruins your gas mileage.
It increases the life expectancy of the car.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
It oils the system, so.
But at $3 a gallon, I'd rather get
Yeasty gas. There's no
I'd rather
gas
get
at
more
all.
gas mileage.
Ruins the car.
Okay. Fungi, yeast. Now, the last thing that I've got out for display that you're going to look at is lichen. Lichen is not an individual organism. Lichen is a symbiotic relationship between two organisms, right? What is in lichen? Algae and fungus. Okay. Lichens are what they call colonizers. They're the first things that can move into an uninhabitable area. Lichen can grow on a rock. Okay? The mixture of these things together, using the algae to make food, right? Using the photosynthetic part to make food, and using the rhizoids of the fungi to collect water and that sort of thing, they can pull it right out of the air, then they can colonize things where nothing else can. If they colonize a rock, then they're going to survive and do fine. They're slowly but surely going to break that rock down, the surface of that rock, into what's going to end up being soil. So when lichens move into an area and do their thing, then they end up making a habitable place for other things, other plants typically, to come in and reside. Okay? So they're colonizers.
Can they reside on trees as well?
What's that?
Can they live on trees too?
Sure.
So they break the tree down too?
Yeah. Okay. I don't think there's anything really important I've left out. Most fungi are saprophytic or parasitic, one or the other. Right? Saprocytes are things that eat dead stuff. Right? They come along, something's dead, and they eat it. Or they're a parasite where they attach to something else and steals nutrients from it also. Yeah.
Is there any symbiotic fungi?
Other than with algae, not that I can think of. Doesn't mean there's not. It's not my field, but I can't think of any. Okay. Now, I could babble incessantly and tell you all kinds of things about all kinds of stuff, but I think it's more important to spend some time looking at this stuff. I'll do what I can to try and get some live paramecium swimming around so that you can look at that. And other than that, pay attention to everything. I don't know.